What is up, everybody? Welcome back to an all-new episode of The Debate. I'm your host, Howard Henry. So today we decided to switch gears a little bit and take a little bit of a break from some of the debating we've been doing in the past episodes. Today's going to be more of a discussion. As you can see, we have 4 new people joining us. We have Dre to my left, and we also have Bernard, and we have Lauren and Jackie. Now, our community is so obsessed with light skin. We have team light skin, team dark skin. But why are we so obsessed with light skin? So Dre, we want to go ahead and start with you. Why do you feel that our community is so obsessed with light skin?
I think that it is slave mentality. It all comes from that place of back in the day when we were slaves. Anything that will set us apart and make us more like the master is a good thing. So being ourselves, being different is a bad thing. Being more like the master, being more like who controls, who runs the situation, that makes us feel good about ourselves. Because if we see that someone else is in control and we want to be like them, then that's where it all comes from. And it also goes into the point of being mixed, because a lot of mixed African Americans are light skinned, and that kind of puts you in that other special category of, well, I'm black, but I'm not really black. You know, I'm kind of my own thing, I'm kind of unique, I'm kind of this, whatever. But it's all about that mentality of being more like white.
Mm-hmm. Have you noticed a trend, Dre, with some people who are mixed and they are on the more lighter side, where they might not claim their African American ancestry or their European ancestry? Like, have you noticed?
Yeah, I mean, you see it all the time. You see it with like celebrities. I know actually a few people who do that, who will go out of their way to just kind of separate themselves from being black. And I see it a lot with, I was talking about this earlier, I see it a lot with African Americans, or people of African descent who are Hispanic, and they work so hard to say that I'm Hispanic, I'm not black, I'm not like an African American, I'm not a Negro, I'm different, I'm Hispanic. And it's all towards that mentality of just anything that separates us, to separate yourself from being black.
Okay. Bernard, what do you think?
Well, in terms of just the whole slave mentality, it definitely it derived from that. I call it basically is the very fabric of what African American society is today, especially when it's the debate on who's better or who's worse. You know, being a dark-skinned man, a chocolate man, which I'm very, very proud about. You know, growing up, it was hard. You know, it wasn't the worst thing in the world, but it was hard. People calling you different names, or you're not good. And my mother was very, very light-skinned. So the thing was, oh, I'm adopted. Everybody, oh, he's adopted, look at his mother. So, I mean, as a child, it was hard. But growing up as an adult, it's beautiful. You know, so.
All right, you embrace it.
I embrace it, I love it.
Embrace it. Jackie, what do you think?
I think it also has to do with advertising. I know growing up, what I saw on TV, I saw the Brooke Shields and the Cindy Crawfords. I never really saw a lot of African-American women, period, but also not dark-skinned African-American women. So growing up half my life, I wanted to be white. I felt that being white was right. There was only one other black girl in my school, and she was light-skinned. So I felt like it wasn't the same. Even though we were both black, she was light, she could pass. She could, I mean, people knew that she was black, but she was closer to them. I was brown. You had to really want to have the chocolate girl. It had to be sort of a thing that you wanted. Otherwise, it was just like, oh, I'm a black girl. Black isn't beautiful, because what I see on TV, what everyone saw on TV was white is right, white is beautiful. Even if you look at our artists today, the most popular African-American female artists, to me, they're all light-skinned. Carrie Hilson, Beyonce, Alicia Keys. I mean, the India Aries, they aren't as successful, because I think it's the more we see someone who looks light skin closer to the white, the more pretty she is, and the easier it is to sort of, oh, well, Beyonce, she's black, but she's light skinned. It's not a huge jump. So,
Lauren, what do you think?
I actually agree with what everyone said. I think it has to do with definitely the culture in the slave community, like when we were slaves, getting preferential treatment for being light skinned. And then I think that goes into today, the standard of beauty. Absolutely. You always see, you always see more, Caucasians on like the advertisements, movies, whatever. But then when you do get the African Americans, it's the very light that you see. So it's not really promoting like more of the darker skin tones. And I think it's really sad. So, I mean, I hate to see it, but I think definitely it's just the culture. It's like I think as a community, we've adopted kind of this bullcrap lie that was sold to us that like we're not beautiful. Like that was maybe someone else's opinion of us and in totally another race, but we've actually adopted it and we practice it in our own race, and we actually are like against each other. Like, you know, certain girls or certain guys only want a light-skinned girl and girls want to be with a light-skinned guy, or parents, if you bring home a really dark guy or like whatever, they, you know, they want their grandkids to look a certain way, they want their kids to look a certain way. I think it's sad. We're all African American. We're all in this thing together, no matter what shade that we are, and I think it's really sad that like we already have enough hurdles. We don't like this is the simple. And by the way, darker skin's more beautiful, and I'm going to tell you why. Because it's more flawless. It's stronger. It doesn't like you don't have to deal with a lot of the issues of the environment and the sun and things like that. And you normally notice the darker skinned person is like the more clarity and evenness of the complexion. So it's just something that was adopted generation to generation. It started from somewhere else. Now we believe it and we hold it against each other, and I think it's really sad.
So let me ask you this, Lauren. You said earlier that it was all just kind of like a lie that was made. Where do you think that maybe came up from? How do you think that maybe?
I mean, I think it came from, you know, from slavery and like from slave owners, you know, being African Americans here, like as slaves from Africa, we look different than everyone else who was around. Different could have been fine, it could have been perfect, it could have been better, it could have been worse. It was told to us that that different was worse. It was told to us that different was ugly. And we believed it. So we're like, okay, whatever features we have that look like them or that's less like us, that's better. And I think that's a lie that we got from so long ago, from back in slavery. And a lot of people probably don't even like, I don't even know that other races are still on it, but like we're still on it. Like we adopt it and we use it, so.
We do it to ourselves so much. Just real quick, I saw this thing on online the other day, and Kelly Rowland, we all know, beautiful chocolate sister, and she was talking about how growing up, you know, she stood next to Beyonce her whole life, so she felt really bad about being dark, and she actually said that it was Beyonce's mom who told her, you know, like, being dark is unique, you know, it's like, what, we make up like 13% of the nation, and only like a certain percentage of our percentage is actually chocolate like that. So it's a unique thing. So anything that's unique, anything that's different is not the norm. So obviously you feel self-conscious about it. And I think that's kind of what, another thing that sets it apart is that it's like if you're the only dark-skinned person in the room, not even the only black person, but the only dark-skinned person, it kind of adds another layer of just being different, just being looked at and being self-conscious of it.
Thank you. Awesome.
I think that one of the areas of black, dark skin, light skin that's missing is the middle people, like the people who are just brown. You know, they're team middle. Just, I mean, there's no like, oh, you know, there's no hoopla about that person who's just, you know, just brown. And I think that we are told that when we look at models and things like that, like we have Alec Weck, we're now being told that that is beautiful. Okay, so now we believe that is beautiful. And we see people like Beyonce, who is a little bit lighter, and we're told that is beautiful. But what about the middle people? You know, where do they fit in?
Absolutely. Okay, well, we're going to go and take a quick break. We will be right back. Welcome back to The Debate. Again, I'm your host, Howard Henley. Today's topic, why is our culture so obsessed with light skin? Something that is very prominent nowadays is skin bleaching. Many people are bleaching their skin with creams and pills and surgery. And Dre, what do you have to say about the skin bleaching phenomenon?
The sad thing is, it kind of started, don't know if it started, but like with Michael Jackson, he obviously got lighter and lighter gradually over the years. His hair got straighter, his nose changed. And I don't know if it was a coincidence, but he also got more successful. He was successful at first, but then now he's Michael Jackson. And then you see it with like everybody from like Little Kim to Vivica Fox, Sammy Sosa, my God. That was dramatic. And it's just, I don't know, I think it's that whole thing of trying to be more normal, trying to be, you know, brighten it up.
Do you feel that it's them trying to be more socially accepted?
It's trying to be more accepted. I think you kind of equate it with success.
Which is funny because those people, by bleaching doesn't make you more successful. I haven't seen anything where Sammy Sosa is all of a sudden now the best baseball player ever because he bleached his skin. I mean, I think it's a crazy thing to do. I think it looks unnatural. It's scary.
And it's
I can't imagine like doing that to my skin.
And it's a reflection of, I think, sort of inner self-hatred, like you were saying, how we've sort of bought into it. So it's not that it's going to make Sammy Sosa more successful, but in his mind, he feels like he's more attractive because he's more light. He's not as dark as he used to be because, like you said, it's not going to change his baseball skills. But if we see light skin or white all the time, that's beautiful, that's attractive. I think you get a complex to the point where you're like, well, I need to get as close to that as I possibly can because then I'll be attractive. One of the people who harassed me the most about my skin color was a light-skinned black guy. It wasn't like white people, like you were saying. It wasn't like it's white people like, oh yeah, I mean, they do play into it because we're trying to be like them, but a lot of the division within the race itself is because team light skin, team dark skin. You kind of have to pick one. You can't be brown skin. And if you tell somebody who is brown skin that they look like Wesley Snipes, they're going to want to fight you because they're like, no, I'm brown skin. I'm not the same color as Wesley Snipes. Now, he's in a whole other category. So again, I think we bought into it, we perpetuate it now, and what can we do to stop it? I don't know.
Even so, it's kind of weird that if you think about it a little bit, the skin tones there are kind of certain stereotypes about the skin tones too. So if you're considered to be, I don't know, like a light-skinned girl, you're automatically going to be like pretty or, you know, or if you're a dark-skinned guy, then you're like rough, dangerous. Yeah, so that's just silly. Like if you really just think about that, that's just absolutely ridiculous.
Well, where do you think all that comes from?
Well, just look at the words black and white. If you look up the words black and white in the dictionary, black has the most negative dark, gloomy. White is light, pure, God. So I think it comes to how we define as a culture what black and white just as colors are, and then take those to people. Well, I want to be associated with white. There's good adjectives with white. There's not good adjectives with black. Why would I want to align myself with that? I want to be what's nice, what's good. So,
but don't forget that black is encompassing of all colors. Yeah. White is the absence of it. True. So I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
But you got to have somebody telling you that. Yeah. You know, I think one of the things that made me accept being dark is that I had a family that was like, you are handsome, you are beautiful, you are not, your skin color does not determine who you are. You know, so I think that if we have that kind of structure, it helps. It
Absolutely.
helps.
Now, Bernard, earlier you actually brought up Alec Weck, who I think is one of the most beautiful models of our time. With models who are darker, how do you feel that they're actually portrayed?
I mean, I don't think they're necessarily seen as, oh, the most beautiful woman in the world. They're edgy. They're, you know, interesting. They're exotic. Like, you know, those words, you don't really hear, oh, they're absolutely beautiful, gorgeous. You know, we have Grace Jones, who is exotic, who is edgy, she's wearing the punk hair and she's wearing the big boots and she's aggressive, you know, still plays into that stereotype. Alec Weck was, you know, not necessarily lucky, but she got the better end of it. You know, she is one of the dark-skinned ones that people, okay, all right, yeah, beautiful, gorgeous. Yeah.
And I think it's interesting because we're using it plural. I don't know of a whole bunch of successful dark-skinned models. I mean, Alec Weck, okay, Grace Jones. I mean, Naomi Campbell, is she dark skinned or is she brown skinned? I mean, I'm running out of, can we throw some other people in there? So I don't think.
Maybe. Yeah, Tyson Becker.
I'm talking about women specifically.
Yeah,
it's definitely harder for women.
Yeah, it's really harder for women.
It's harder for
I mean,
women.
it's like a unique, edgy thing. They play with the skin tone. They put a lot of bright colors, a lot of like, even with black models in general, it's about body a lot. Like, a white, at least with guys, a white guy model could be just bone thin, like really just skinny and just come out and wear nice clothes. But a black guy model, they want you to take your shirt off and like flex and so over-sexualized.
Absolutely.
And I mean, that's a whole different topic.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's a segue to another topic.
Well, I definitely agree with that, absolutely. So we are gonna go ahead and take a quick break, but before we do, let's see what you all have to say out there in the Twitter world. Go ahead, Siobhan.
Hey everybody, it's Siobhan Hughes, your social media friend, bringing your tweets and your video responses to life. Let's take a look at what we have for today. Today's topic is, why are we so obsessed with light skin? At Marcus Terrell writes, television, television, television. It's what we see on television that shapes our perception of what we aspire. At J. Milzies writes, skin color is a validation of beauty. True beauty is so much deeper than what color somebody is. Let's check out our video responses sent in by Fabio.
Hey, what's up everybody? This is Fabio, and I think that people in general are obsessed with light skin in the black community because it's something that was taught to us. Back in slave times, those people who were lighter skinned got less menial tasks and were given jobs that were easier to do. And if you were able to pass, your life seemed a lot easier. And it's something that we bought into, even though all colors of our spectrum are beautiful.
If you want to be a part of our discussion, send us a tweet to The Debate TV Show at Twitter, or send us an email to thedebatetvshow@gmail.com. We'll be right back.
Hey everybody, welcome back to The Debate. If you're just joining us, we are having a discussion on why our culture is so obsessed with light skin. But people who are darker are not the only ones that are discriminated against. It's also people who are light skinned. Lauren, what is your take on that? Why do you think that people who are light skinned are discriminated as well?
Well, definitely. My mom is biracial, very fair skin, and she always told me stories of, growing up, of kids in school just being really mean and hateful, beating her up because she was really light and because, you think you're white. And she told me that because I was kind of in the middle, that was the perfect thing to be, because you wouldn't have people who were like jealous and mean to you because you were too light, and you wouldn't have people discriminating against you because you were too dark. So I think you definitely get it on both ends, even for being too light skinned. And a lot of times the too light skin discrimination comes from other black people, or like maybe darker skinned black people, and they're only perpetuating it because they had someone being mean to them because they were dark, so they're mean to you because they're jealous because you're light. Like, it's just a cycle.
Mm-hmm. So it seems like it definitely is equal. You know what I'm saying? It's not just people who are dark-skinned that are discriminated. It's kind of like 50-50. Would you say it's 50-50, or would you say that it's maybe 75-25?
Maybe 60-40.
Yeah, it's not 50-50.
Yeah.
It's because at the end of the day, it is, in society in general, not in our community, but it is more normal, more better to be light. So obviously, it's going to be a little bit lean towards that as opposed to towards being dark.
I mean, I just think it's very unfair that light-skinned people automatically get the whole conceited thing. Like, I grew up with a majority of light-skinned women and never had those issues. I mean, I don't know what they were like when they were younger, but as grown women, I mean, my grandmother, I think she's mixed. I'm not sure, but she is very, very fair. And she said growing up, the people in her town, the girls in her town, were very, very mean to her. She could only hang around boys because she was so light-skinned. So, I mean, I just think light-skinned people get a bad rap sometimes. And I know so many beautiful light-skinned women that are not like that.
Yeah, my grandpa, just real quick, my grandpa, he's half something. He doesn't know his dad, but he's really light too. And he grew up in the South, like back in the day. So he actually is like kind of racist. Like, if you tell him that he's light, or if you tell him that he's mixed or something, he'll get mad at you. Mm-hmm. I ain't know, you know how those old black men are sometimes. He's kind of like that. So yeah, I was trying to think of a personal example of that, and that's the perfect one, because to this day, he's like that.
Awesome. All right, well, I want to go ahead and get our final thoughts. Lauren?
Yeah, I think, the discrimination between skin tone is definitely, unfortunately everyone has it a little bit, but I think we carry it worse within our race. And I think once we see, kind of the image of beauty and the image of black beauty, like, I think Michelle Obama is a beautiful, great example, because it's not just her look, but it's her poise. We start seeing more women like that, then the kids who are even darker, and everyone will start to see the beauty in themselves.
All right, Jackie.
Black is beautiful, regardless of the shade, and I think once we start to embrace that as a culture, we can move forward. I think the BET movement with the Black Girls Rock really sort of reinforces and encourages our young black women to realize that no matter your shade, you're beautiful, and I don't think that we get that enough. And so I think if we start with our young people, teaching them that we're all black, we're all beautiful, then we can move forward to a better future.
All right, Bernard?
I just think there are just more important things to worry about than skin tone. I mean, as a race, as a community, I think the biggest thing that we can do is just empower each other, speak positivity into each other's lives, just love and all those great things. We have other things to worry about than skin tone.
All right, Trey.
I think that at the end of the day, the skin tone thing comes from self-hate, really deep embedded self-hate, but I think that we should all just love ourselves, because we are all beautiful.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you to my panel for joining us today. If you want to send us a tweet about any of the topics that we discussed on the show, send it to @TheDebateTVShow on Twitter. You can also send us your video responses to thedebatetvshow@gmail.com. I'm Howard Henley, and we'll see you later.